Hi, this is Kendra from Pencil and Pigment, and today I'm going to be drawing a bird. So, sit back, relax, grab a sketchbook, draw with me, let's hang out. I wanted to have a chat about where I'm at and what I'm doing. So the lighting is going to constantly flex while I'm drawing. I have both my desk lamps turned off. I have two desk lamps. Yeah. Because drawing. So, and it's been rainy and now it's windy and the sun's trying to come out. So it's a lot of things going on right now outside. And I'm just doing a light gray outline so I can see where I'm at and where I'm going with this body shape for this bird. I probably won't get to most of this because when I try to do realism, it takes hours. So we will get as rough a start as we can get here, and hopefully we will see the face emerge for the video. This is the one I did yesterday. You can see he's all legs. I love him. Anyway, that was 2 hours. So it's not a quick process, but it's tons and tons of fun. And birds are amazing. So let's get into this video topic. I'm going to do a huge recap for folks that are new to my channel, that maybe haven't seen all my playlists, that haven't been following me for years, and where I'm at and what's going on. So in 2020, the pandemic, we were all there for it. It was horrible. If you're still dealing with the fallout and some of the things, my thoughts are with you. My heart is with you. I am so sorry. I hope health and wealth follow you everywhere you go in life. I hope it gets better. I hope it gets easier. If it doesn't, breathe, and we all adjust to our new normal as we go. So I took the entire year of 2020 off from drawing, from creating, from everything. And we were just focusing on homeschool and being at home and life with a puppy. And it was a lot of stuff to unpack. So, and we got the puppy and we started homeschooling the fall of 2019. So we didn't know that, everything was going to go to pandemic, but that's what happened. So because I took 2020 off, I was able to sort of rest and recharge some of my creative things. I didn't force myself to do anything. I did a little tiny bit of like black and white photography, just if the mood hit me. But for the most part, I need to put this in an extender. I'm really trying to be kinder to my hands. Some of my colored pencils are getting kind of tiny. I really tried to be gentle with myself and just like, hey, it's okay to take years off. It's okay to take time off. I know not a lot of folks talk about that, but that is absolutely, when you feel like you need it mentally, absolutely lean into it and do it. It's a very kind thing you could do for yourself. Just listen to your body, listen to your mind. Your mental health is just as important as your physical health. They're all tied together, and that leans into your creative health and burnout and block, and artist burnout, artist block. Those are legitimate. So I took the year off, and that was fine. Obviously that year was a lot for everybody involved. And when 2021 happened, I slowly eased myself into creating every day, and it felt good. It felt right. It felt like what I should be doing. Obviously, I started doing way more videos on my YouTube channel. Like, I started my channel in 2017, but my videos were slapdash and there was no talking because, again, I'm kind of private. And I just kind of showed things, and I just didn't, I wasn't taking this seriously as something long-term and something that could help others as much as it helps myself. Excuse me. Sorry about that. And so as I started creating, I started watching more videos and feeling more inspired and feeling more motivated, and all those kind of fed into each other and to why I ended up like absolutely going crazy and overbuying. I over-purchased art supplies, and I bought art supplies that were being discontinued. I bought art supplies that were limited edition. I just bought all the art supplies all the time. I supported local people. I supported small businesses. I just went kind of purchasing crazy, and it's okay. It's fine. Financially, it didn't matter. I just, what it represented wasn't what I wanted. So there's kind of this weird feedback loop with YouTubers and creating and haul videos, and the more you sort of publish those and have those, the more the algorithm pushes those in your channel, and then people can find you. And that feels like a rewarded process for, hey, you went shopping and not only did you get cool stuff, but now you got tons more people on your channel. Like, it just becomes a self-feeding loop, which is weird, to reward shopping. And then there's sort of that mindset on YouTube where folks show what they're buying, and it's a consumption of consumerism type of thing. And I analyzed and looked at how much I had spent. I will link my playlist for my no-buy art supply. I will link my playlist for my low-buy art supply. I have a video where I discuss how much I spent. I spent a lot, and I know art supplies adds up really, really fast, but I spent more than I wanted to. Like, I just spent more than I felt I should. Like, that, the amount just seemed way too high. And then I have products left over that I'm trying to fill that I'm like, these aren't the best fit for how I like to create and the supplies that I own. So I did not make wise purchasing choices. And that's something that I wanted to learn through doing a no-buy art supply for a year. I wanted to see if I could do it. It's a challenge. And I'm one of those people that, one, I'm super stubborn, and two, I thrive on challenges. I just thrive on them. Like, the harder something becomes, or the less time I have to do something, the better my time management and the better I am, the more disciplined I am. So that may not be a state in which you feel comfortable. The challenge state, the sort of heightened state of creating, but that's someplace where I thrive. So I did a no-buy art supply for all of 2022. And I learned a ton about myself. I learned that my biggest temptation is surfaces, specifically sketchbooks. I prefer to create on paper. I've done rocks, I've done petrified wood, I've done seashells and sand dollars, and I've painted on all kinds of weird stuff. But my preferred surface is paper. I have a boo-boo. Can you see it? Oh, yard work. Okay, sorry. Sometimes the distraction is real. So, yeah. And then moving forward, there's about 40 videos, I think, in that playlist of my no-buy, where I cover a lot of topics that I think are important and relevant to talk about. I move into a low-buy of how do I move forward? So yeah, I can go a whole year without buying stuff, but how do I move forward when I'm creating constantly every day, and I know I need the products and I know I need the stuff? Sorry, I'm just smoothing that out a little bit. How do I move forward with what I've learned? And that's probably the hardest takeaway with doing a no-buy, is carrying it forward, is doing it publicly, is having a YouTube channel, is creating every single day. Like, yes, this is your temptation. You know it's your temptation. Now, don't be tempted when you still have to buy things and look at these things and assess prices and assess needs versus wants. And this is thrown up in your face when you need to go shopping. And you're reminded of poor decisions, and you're reminded of how distracted you get when you're in certain moods and certain seasons and certain places in your life. Like, I'm definitely a bigger shopper in the springtime than I am in the winter. So what I decided to do is take my biggest temptation, which is surfaces, and say, okay, well, that's going to be its own specific purchase. Since that's my biggest temptation, I want to focus on that by itself. I want to purchase all the paper I'm going to need for the next year. So for 2025, I did all my purchases in December of 2024 to make sure that I had everything, and I just do it once. So it's every December I purchase for the following year. So once a year, I purchase my biggest temptation, and I have all year to look at other papers if I want to look at other notebooks, you know, if companies are coming out with limited edition things. Like, I can look at those and that's fine, but I don't purchase things till December. And there's a lot of things I purchase the exact same every year. So I always purchase a Moleskine expanded blank page, and that's for journaling for my mental health, which assists my creative health. There's just things I purchase every year. So I know these things about myself. Now in the summer, so basically I've limited myself to 2 purchases a year, because if I allow for more than 2, what happens is I suddenly lose track. If I'm doing like, oh, I'll just add a couple things to this purchase. If I add a couple things to that purchase, yeah, it's $5 here, it's $5 there. It doesn't make, it's not a huge thing, but it adds up so fast. And then I lose track. So it's 2 very specific purchases. One surfaces, and it's a list, and I don't deviate. I think methodically about it. If there was any books I think might help me, I get books at that time. I try to go gently used through bookfinder.com. Buying brand new isn't a factor in my life. And then for mediums, for the things I create with, that's what I do in the spring. And I shop around, and it's more relaxed. It's not such a strict list that I'm not enjoying myself and having fun. I might pick up some unique things I've never used before. So that is how I chose to divide it. Again, this is sort of unique to me because these are my temptations. These are the products I use. You may be a sculptor, you may be a fabric textile artist, and so therefore your temptations and what you need to purchase and the price points for these things may be wildly different because of what you're using. And maybe you just like student grade stuff and this is a hobby and you just enjoy people talking about low buys and no buys. Or you're here because of clothing no buy and you popped on because of my title. And so it's not really art supplies that are your temptation. It's maybe specific clothing or shoes or something, but it's all relevant. Tracking and cataloging where you spend your money, what you spend your money on, and then doing an inventory. I inventoried every single art supply I owned. And I went through and I decluttered and I cleaned and I organized, and it took hours. And I don't have the largest supply of stuff. I just don't. So if you have a whole room full, it's going to take you weeks, and plan accordingly. But having an inventory was one of the most helpful things. One, looking through bank statements and just adding it all up so I could see the actual numbers. Because I can just think in my head, like, I know I spent too much, but then to see the numbers totally hit different. Like, it was just a very specific wake-up call. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay. Spent way too much. I'm looking for some colors here. I think I want this guy. All right, again. So, why am I talking about this? Because the summer is coming, and it's my mediums purchase. It's the stuff I create with. I'm going to need to do this purchase, and I'm going to need to do it next month, and hopefully things arrive on time and I can have it all in one clumped video. I like it all clean and concise, not like over the course of weeks and weeks and weeks of different tiny hauls. It'll just be one haul video. And I've decided to make it harder on myself. Just bear with me, please. Please. Okay. I've mentioned I thrive and strive on a challenge. Okay. Please don't freak out. So I redid my webpage. My webpage was like a blogger. It was a blogger page where I just bought the URL handle, and I was spending $12 a year. That's a US dollar. And so it wasn't like a big deal, but it wasn't a professional looking webpage either. And I wanted something a little bit more professional. Like, that's just kind of where I'm at in my life. Anyway, so I went on Squarespace, not sponsored. Nobody sponsors me. I don't need to be sponsored. It keeps me from being overly biased and playing favorites if I'm not sponsored. And I don't want to play favorites. And it's not like Karen Dosh is handing out sponsorships anyway. So the companies I would accept sponsorships from don't hand them out. So it's all moot at this point. Anyway, so Squarespace. I purchased a website from them that had a little coupon. It was roughly, with the coupon, like $240 US for the year. Okay? In case you were wondering. I am going to be talking prices. I really hope it doesn't make you uncomfortable. Some people don't like the whole money talk, and I apologize. That could be like how you were raised, or it could be culturally. And I apologize if that comes across as insensitive or me throwing privilege in your face. Like, I understand where I'm at in my life, and I know I am privileged, and I know I am lucky. And if I didn't want to ever track my spending ever again, I wouldn't have to. I'm not doing it for money-saving reasons. I'm not on a limited income. It's not a budget thing. It's an example thing. So we have 3 kids. They're all teenagers. They see their mother create every day. They see me draw every day. They see me do commissions. They see me do a bunch of stuff. And they just see my general love of art and my general love of creating. And I want them to see that. I want them to go, yeah, no, mom's an artist and she loves it. And these are her tools. These are not the answer to everything. She enjoys it. She has a ton of fun, but it's not the end all be all of everything in the world. I don't want them to think that because you love something, you have to spend all the money on it all the time. That's not how this works. So I want my kids to see me setting a good example. I want them to see me striving and thriving with what I have, using what I have. If I don't like something I no longer have, either reselling it, rehoming it, trading, I want them to see that. I also want to change the narrative on YouTube. And I know I'm only one person. And I know it's going to take more than just me to change the narrative, but I want people to hop on YouTube and go to the artist spaces and places here and see artists creating, not just showing what they bought. Not just swatching, but actually drawing and talking about drawing and teaching drawing and all the different things. They could be painting, it could be, I use the word drawing as a sort of catch-all term. But I want to change the narrative that we're, just haul videos. We're not that. We're more than that. So it's kind of a twofold purpose here. One, I need to make better, smarter choices. And I have. Since my no-buy and since that lesson, I have been making better purchases, smarter choices. I've been buying better paper. I've been buying paper that I can use on multiple mediums, wet and dry. Like, I'm not dividing my paper out like this is just for dry, this is just for wet. Like, multimedia, multi-surface paper has been the answer to a lot of my issues. So, why do I mention the Squarespace thing? Why am I mentioning the price? Because that was an additional price, and I consider it part of my supply. I consider it a tool. I consider having a web page a tool for myself, for my art. And you're like, but that's, yeah, please don't get mad. It's sort of strange talking about how you spend your money individually and then people find it out of context, or they don't listen to the whole video, or they don't know the whole backstory. And I get weird emails sometimes from people that are very upset and offended about my choices. Please don't be upset and offended. It is my life and my pocketbook, and we're okay. We're good, and I appreciate you. I really, really do. So what I've decided to do is count the I think it was $44. The $244 for my webpage as part of my budget. So essentially, I took my $500 US yearly budget, which was the amount I said I could spend on art supplies, and I essentially cut it in half because of the webpage. So now instead of being able to spend $500, I'm only allowed to spend $250. Again, remember what I said at the beginning of the video where I thrive on challenges. Like, that's the harder something becomes and the more challenging it becomes, the more excited I get. The more challenged I feel, the more engaged I get. So, how do I, moving forward, essentially buy everything I need for a year with only $250? Getting all the surfaces I need for a year, getting all the supplies I need for a year. How do I do that? Welcome to where I'm at in May, trying to configure what I'm going to do for my purchase in June. That is my mediums purchase. It is the tools I will have. I won't be able to purchase any other tools for a whole year. So, oh, I like it. I like it. What it's forced me to do, and being this extra strict and essentially cutting it in half, because I already made the Surface purchases for the year, and I didn't take into account, I didn't know I was going to do a professional webpage this year. I don't know. Midway, Kendra lost her mind and was like, April, we're doing a new webpage. I can't explain it when things hit, but I know it's right when it feels right. You know what I mean? And it felt right to do a more professional webpage. So what am I going to buy and how am I going to do this? It is forcing me to even more hone in on wants versus needs. Like, there are no erroneous expenditures. There are no things where I'm like, ooh, that looks like fun, or that's kind of new and interesting. Yes, there are those, but again, do I just want that, or do I genuinely need that? Will I use that? Am I comfortable with that? And so how I'm assessing this and moving forward is this a supply I've used before? And did I enjoy using it before? So I know that I need to purchase, for example, some more colored pencils. Some of my colored pencils are getting really small. I'm just grabbing random ones. So some of them are tiny, okay? This is the full length one versus where I'm at with some of my sizes. So you can see that I need to purchase some colored pencils. I go through those. The other thing I really tend to go through are ink pens. So that's something I'm familiar with. Like, I know the Polychromos Faber-Castell color pencils, and I know the Caran d'Ache Luminous color pencils. I know how they perform. It's not a new medium to me. I may get a couple colors I've never used before because I like having fun too. And it's the challenge within the challenge. Like, how do I still have fun purchasing? How do I still get things that I know I'm going to enjoy? I get things that I need, get a couple fun wants. Like, how am I going to do this with my budget so small? Yeah. Okay. And then my brain immediately goes, okay, can we do this? And if we can do this, how do we keep on doing this for future years? What is the paper purchase for 2026 going to look like? How do we configure this? Or do we decide, we the proverbial me and my brain, all the Kendras, Dream Kendra versus Reality Kendra? Because Dream Kendra is like, you know, on a boat painting, but Reality Kendra is at her desk. Let's just be for real. So how do we take all the Kendras, appease them all, be realistic, and then make sure that we have the surfaces for a whole year? How do we keep that purchase low? So I have my roll, my Strathmore 500 mixed media roll that works great for wet and dry. I can watercolor, I can color pencil on it. And I'm going to be making a lot of sketchbooks next year. So that's a for sure thing. Boy, that needs more indigo, doesn't it? That's what you were thinking, and I'm agreeing with you. So, moving forward, I know I can do it this year. I know that I can absolutely, what it's left me with what I spent in December, because that's what I do. I take my Surface purchase plus this medium purchase, and then, you know, make sure it's under 500. With the price, oh my goodness, with the price of the webpage, and moving forward, oh, we need fur. We need some feathers here. How do I do this? And it leaves me, essentially, looking at all the money and the prices, it leaves me with $108. So I have $108 to spend on mediums this year that last me to next summer. Can it be done? I think it can be done. I'm gonna try it again. I like the challenge. It's adding a whole new layer of spice. Not that the $500 challenge isn't challenging. I just know I can definitely do that. So I've done it for a couple of years now. So the challenge isn't really there anymore. So in cutting it in half, my challenge got more challenging. And it feels like a whole new challenge. And it feels extra difficult. And it feels extra challenging. And it's got me extra excited. I can't explain my brain. My brain goes, yeah, we could do that. We could totally do that. We could totally set a good example, and we could follow our rules, and we could do the things, and we can show folks on YouTube that we're not just haul videos, and the kids in the house can see that mom sets a good example. Hold on, cars. Okay, sorry about that. There's a lot of loud cars, but it's the weekend, so hey neighbors. Yeah. Welcome to where I'm at. Welcome to where I'm at. So I hope that doesn't, I hope it doesn't make some of you angry. Please don't be angry. Assess your feelings. And if what I've said really, really upsets you, maybe it's not about me. Maybe you're having a tough time or a tough day. Like, look at that, please. And I hope your day gets better and easier. This isn't, I'm not trying to cure like world hunger over here. This isn't a politic thing. This isn't, it's not a contentious thing. It's just art supplies, but they're my tools. So instead of buying hammers and chisels, I'm over here colored pencils and pens. I don't need any watercolor paint. I did watercolor for February. I plan on doing watercolor for July. And I want a third challenge in here somewhere, so I do watercolor at least 3 times this year. But there's no way. I have a 36 set of Schminke, Hydromac Oil. I have over a dozen tubes. I have some one-off pans. Like, I probably have 60 watercolors. And 60 watercolors is and is not a lot. It's all relative to who you are, where you're at, and what channels you watch. Some folks have thousands, and that's their prerogative, and maybe they just review and compare, and that's how they do it on their channel. But I'm just create with mine, so I don't need 1,000. And I understand color theory, and I know how to mix stuff. I have conveniences, and I have poor purchases. So watercolors and paints aren't a thing, and with the acrylic tubes I have left, I have a cadmium red, a cadmium yellow, and a blue, and that's it. So I don't have a lot of acrylic left. And the colors I make are, it's not good. I can show you. I have acrylic in here, and then the gold gouache. So this is the acrylic paint I have left. I can make this like really weird green, and that's pretty much what I like. So I'm slowly phasing out my acrylic paints. Again, I apologize for the loud cars. And then I have some metallic gouaches. I have gold, silver, and I have white. So, and I'm not going to be buying like a gouache set. I'm not going to be getting into gouache. I'm not a gouache channel. I apologize for that, but there are other folks on here that just do it so well. So I know if you need that, you can find that. Same with like acrylic gouache, and there's variants of, I'm not purchasing those. I'm not suddenly going to get into oil paints unless I win them online. Like if somebody's doing a giveaway and I accidentally win some oil paints, then I will try oil painting and I will give it my best shot. And if I hate it more than life itself, I will sell them or rehome them or regift them. So I don't plan on going crazy. My haul video, it's going to be the smallest anti-haul that ever hauled. It's just going to be a real tiny thing, and we could talk about it, and we can explore what I purchased. It's going to be a lot of, I use this a lot, I love it, I'm running out of it, I rebought it. It's just going to be a lot of that. There isn't going to be any, this is brand new and I saw it and I've never used it before. I'm not doing those anymore. That's how I end up with things I'm not in love with that I hardly ever use, that don't fit either the size I create in or the things I like to create with. I worry with a lot of dry media and certain things that it'll be really scratchy. And And while I don't mind Conte Paris, I'm talking to you and some of your beautiful browns, because brown is the most beautiful color ever. It's just not the most enjoyable thing ever when creating with super scratchy products. And if sounds or textures really get to you, like you're sensitive to that, I would recommend reading reviews, listening to people swatch stuff, and try it out in store if it's at all possible. Like there's a lot of products I cannot try in stores near me, so I have to go online and read and see what people are talking about. The Conte Paris are very scratchy. I will never rebuy those pencils. They're really difficult to sharpen. I use an X-Acto blade. I still break the tips. Like I feel like I'm wasting part of it every time it breaks off. It's just not the most enjoyable experience. So I won't be buying things that I've never used before because I can't test them out. And sometimes when people go to review them online, it could be something they were gifted, it could be something that they received from the company, and that skews the opinion. Like you're a little bit kinder when it's free. And so I don't really tend to enjoy those videos as much when I'm watching other people's stuff, just because I feel like they're, whether it be consciously or unconsciously done, I feel like there's a little bit of a bias. Like, I love them, I talked to them on the phone, they're super sweet, they gave me this. And I'm just like, yeah, but that's not a good product. I would maybe give that to my kids. My dog says hi. So, oh, she's chatty now. That's our big old sunflower. Okay, so that's what my future haul video is gonna be. It's what it's gonna look like. It's what it's gonna sound like. It's a whole lot of me going, yeah, this is how I do $250. This is how I make my challenge more challenging. Oh gosh. Welcome to where I'm at in my life. And I think I'll be fine for 2026. I may reassess in 2028. I'll be doing my low buy for 5 years by 2028. And I think I can say inflation, like realistically. You know, the prices of things definitely go up over time. That's just the natural evolution of everything in the world. So, and maybe in 2028, I'll up it to 550. Just, I don't know. I figure by 2028, I'm really going to need some stuff, and it might be just too hard to stick to 500. It might just be really hard. So, that's where I'm at. You've been warned. That's what this is. This is the mental preparation for what you're going to see next month in my haul video. Like, you know, and I know how strict I'm going to be. So, forewarned is forearmed. We can mentally prepare now for how stringent and tiny it all is. It's going to be fine. I promise. It's not that deep. It's not that big a deal. Again, I love challenge. I think it's hilarious. Some folks on here take it real serious, real serious. So if you have a shopping addiction, or you are on a very limited budget, limited income, and you're trying to get by, consider doing trades for commissions. Consider trying to do things with people you know, draw their houses, draw their pets, draw their kids. Those are really things that mean stuff to people. Is a great way to earn commissions and earn money, a little extra money for art supplies. Find what's important to people, people you know, care about, they trust your reputation, they know you. That's the easiest way to sell commissions when you're starting out. So these are just things to consider. This is just where I'm at in 2025. I'm not mad at the webpage. I don't regret it. I'm not gonna regret it. I think it was the right move professionally for me. I just know that it's made some things more challenging. So that may be hard for other folks to witness, and they may have, if you have to bow out, like if it's just too much, that's okay. Like, only deal with what you can handle for the day. Like, you know you. So check in, see how you're feeling, see how this hits you. If it doesn't hit you right, bow out. I hope your day's wonderful. If you're laughing along with me and you think the challenge is definitely more challenging and you want to see if it's something that I can do, I also want to see if it's something I can do. I think I could do it. I totally think I can. I just think that it's really gonna force me to be like, no, that's a want. You and I both know that's a want. That's not a need. And it also goes down to, what have I been missing this past year? Like, what are the supplies I've been thinking about since last June that I'm like, dang, I wish I had that. Like, how often do I think about this supply that I don't have? And that tells me that that's definitely something I need to rebuy, because I can't stop thinking about it. I'm constantly looking for it and wishing I had it. And there are a couple things I definitely don't want to buy because I'm trying to get away from all the plastics and stuff, especially with a lot of the pen components. But I keep thinking about them and I love them. And there's nothing that has taken the place for them that I have found a decent substitute for. So I'm going to have to buy them. Yeah, that's where I'm at. It's weird. It's weird. It's wonderful. So I hope this video found you well. I hope you're as excited as I am to try and make this work and watch my adventure. If you decide to do a no buy or a low buy, go through your bank statements, go through your purchases, make copious notes, do an inventory, check your supplies, see what you use, see what you don't, figure out why you don't use some of the things you don't use. And that will definitely help you as to which formats of things to purchase later on. So if you have a bunch of big chunky stuff and you work small, that may be why you don't gravitate towards that, and it could just be sitting there. Consider doing a trade with somebody that works bigger for some of their stuff that they don't use because they bought it and it was too small for them. Like, there's just some stuff that sits on our shelves and we have to assess, like, okay, was this dream me? Like, unrealistic me in my mind, fantasy self was like, oh, this is the best idea that ever I did. And then reality hit and was like, oh, that's a terrible idea. That happens a lot. That's the reality of life. And we do that. We do that with lots of purchases. Sometimes we do that with food we buy. Oh, I said I was going to try the new vegetable this week or more fruit. And then it ends up spoiling and going bad before we can use it. It's the same with like clothing. Like, if I lose 5 pounds and this will fit, so I can't get rid of it and I have to buy it, it's on sale. So it applies to more than just art supplies. And I can honestly say that doing a no-buy with art supplies affected all my shopping. Because I'm just not that big of a shopper anyway. I have 3 things I love to buy. Art supplies, books, and plants. And when I did my low buy, I made sure not to transfer my shopping urges to books or plants. I didn't buy any books or plants because the temptation was too great, because those are the things I love to buy. So assess your shopping. It applies with everything. It just keeps going round and round. Everything's connected, everything's related. It's a wild ride. So this is a head of a blue-footed booby. They come with red feet, they come with yellow feet. In case you're wondering, what bird is she drawing? I'm just puttering, working slowly, adding individual feathers. It's a lot of fun. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're as prepared as I'm gonna be for this extreme low buy. And I feel like I could add extreme to it, because $250 a year for like how prolific I am with my creating and stuff, it's extreme. All right, I hope your day is absolutely wonderful, and I will talk to you later. Bye.